Hi, this is Frank Radice for Red Touch Media in our continuing series on the future of content. I'm with Rod Perth, the CEO and president of NATPE. So, Rod, tell me a little bit about the new tagline for NATPE this year.
Well, No Barriers New Business came out of, or evolved out of, finding a way to sort of signal that we recognize that there's been barriers around the world of digital and linear historically, and that last year we came up with a theme called Beyond Disruption, and this year we wanted to signal to this new ecosystem that there are no barriers between those buckets that are called linear and digital, and in fact it's one big community now that is ever dependent, increasingly dependent, interdependent on each other. And so it's a metaphor in a way for everything that's possible. And so it serves us, and we use it.
Tell me a little bit about this year's conference so far. It looks to me great success. How about how many people do you expect? How many people have come? How many vendors are showing? How are things going from the business perspective?
From the business perspective, it's a smash, and I give all the credit in the world for the board of directors and the staff that I work with. I'm fortunate to work with, and how well they execute. Attendance is up. Buyers are up considerably in double digits, which is a huge benchmark, and that's a real important signal of how important this market is and conference has become. But most importantly, the new sectors of people who are attending and contributing is what I'm more proud of than anything, because we've done, I think, a great job of becoming more relevant to more than just television stations or channels or networks, because everybody from the international world is here, digital world in a huge way. I just left a session with Anthony Wood, the founder and CEO of Roku. So technology is here. We have the CES, we have CEA here with the curated sort of best of CES, and all you have to do is walk up on the fourth floor, and it's all there for you to touch and feel and understand. So there's an energy that I don't think has existed. Well, it existed last year, and this is just building on that. So this is part two of more to come.
I do think the link between you guys and CEA is pretty interesting. They not only put on a show, it's not just the Consumer Electronics Show, but they represent the consumer electronics business on Capitol Hill. Is there something about that link that also might create a situation where you guys represent on Capitol Hill?
No, I don't think that that's in the cards for NATPE. We're a 50-year-old nonprofit. This is our 51st year. Historically, we filled a need, and still do, as a marketplace for buyers and sellers. That's our primary mission. But what we've done is added dimensionally to that mission by bringing such important influencers and thought leaders. There's over 160 senior executives and thought leaders from every sector of the business. And including chief marketing officers. The chief marketing officer of McDonald's is here, of Subway, Chipotle. It's ironic that we've got three of the bigger fast foods. And because we believe that advertising and brands are part of the conversation and have an enormous amount to gain, both from being here but also to contributing. So I don't see us being a lobbying effort by any means, no.
I did a panel this afternoon with a number of people from different parts of the television spectrum. We were talking about data mining, so trading content for data. Is this something that you see as just the way things are going to be? Is it going to be something, because I know that you were talking about, is the second screen disruptive, or is there really such a thing as a second screen? Is the second screen not the primary screen if you're not looking at the primary screen?
Well, I think answer to part one of your question is really data is the new oil. So data is so important for everything these days. But second, as to second screen, I'm getting a little tired of the term second screen, because it sort of traps our thinking that it means it has to be something that distracts you away from your primary viewing experience, which I don't think is necessarily the case. Look, Second Screen is in its first iteration. It's in chapter 1 of however it evolves moving forward. We had the Consumer Electronics Association and ourselves have jointly invested in a massive research project that we talked about it today with a panel, and it was incredibly interesting in terms of the results of that research. And what it proves is that right now, obviously, it's driven by sports and by the immediacy of live interactive viewing and quote-unquote second screen. And it's evolving in other forms of programming. I asked everybody in the room how many people thought second screen was sort of the next 3D, or did they really think second screen was real? And there was only 2 people in the room who thought it was the next 3D. By that I mean 3D was an utter failure as it came and went. In fact, if you went to CES this year, no one even mentioned it. There was no it's like the on-off button. All TVs come with, all flat screens come with 3D now. So I suspect that 2 years from now, 18 months from now, we'll be labeling it something else. It'll just be part of the viewing experience. One of the things that was very interesting, and Dave Poltrak mentioned that in their research, they've found that as long as the second screen experience is never intrusive to people who don't want to participate, there's a chance for second screen to work. But if it obligates you as a viewer to do something, then it's intrusive. Then it's intrusive, and it's not organic. And the other answer is, we found out through research, is it has to be simple. It has to be searchable. It has to be a clean kind of an experience.
I've also noticed in the last couple of years, not just because it's Miami, but there's a huge influx of Latino programmers.
Not just Latinos, but Europeans and from every continent.
I single out Latino only because we know that, and it may be true for other parts of the world as well, that they over-index in the use of digital devices. So the idea of even a complicated second screen experience may not be something that's a problem for them.
I know that people in Japan are on their bullet train watching programming and sports and narrative-driven programming, and their Android device, and I think they're primarily Android devices because they've got the larger screens, tend to be their first screen. I can't see that happening in our country. I don't think that it's going to be a first screen. I think that it's additive on mobile, but who knows? It remains to be seen.
So thank you very much for your time. That's Rod Perth, the CEO and president of NATPE. This is Frank Radice. See you next time.